Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Positive Success Show. I have a wonderful guest with me today. She is from Southern California, my hometown. Doris Cho is the founder of Doris Delights, which is a cooking, charcuterie, everything creative. Doris is just this magical woman, friend and colleague on the internet space and the online space that has created so many great recipes and ideas for everyday people to follow, learn from, and bring some inspiration to their lives. So I'd like to introduce to you Doris Cho. Doris, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to finally be doing this interview with you. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, no, it's great, Doris. I mean, we've been friends that have known each other for several years now, probably almost a decade and more.
Yep.
And I'd love for you to share with our audience members and our listeners just how you got started in this space of sharing what you love doing, because that's like one of the gifts of life. When you find something you enjoy and then you stick with it, it's like it brings so much inspiration to yourself, but then also to others that are watching you.
Well, what started all of this was basically my desire to want to cook for my family. And so, like, I grew up in a household, my mom and dad worked from like 5 in the morning to like 8 to 9 p.m. at night. And, my parents never really cooked. And so I made it a mission to make sure that when I have my nuclear family, that I would provide food on the table each night. And so that inspired me to want to cook. And now I cook a lot in the Instapot. I use the air fryer. You're mentioning, I enjoy making charcuterie boards. I do a lot of things, but overall, my interest and my passion really stems from that. And then I just started posting on like Facebook and Instagram, just sharing just through the stories or through posts. And people started to notice, oh, this girl makes interesting Korean food in the Instapot. And then so somehow, I started, I was in a Facebook Korean group, and then I was asked to join as an admin. And then I started like maybe 3 years ago as an admin with only like about 2,000 followers. And currently it's up to about 70K right now. And so it's amazing. Yeah.
That's so amazing. And it's just that this mission to want to make food for your family. I think that's so lovely and so beautiful. It's so simple. Doris, I'm just curious. I don't think I've ever asked you before. Did you know how to cook before having a family? Like, were you a big cook in college or growing up? I don't know.
I mean, like, I never really took interest. And then when I moved out of my house, I would always host, cook for my friends. But it was not that I was amazing to begin with. It was more of like, I wanted to learn. So I sought out, what I needed to do to learn and whatnot. And my cousin, she was a big force behind me wanting to cook because she always hosted. She was a Martha Stewart of her times,
Yeah.
So I did learn a lot as I was growing up. And so, yeah.
No, that's awesome. And so how did you get into the Instapot world? Like, did you just decide one day I'm going to try some Korean recipes in here, or how did that all begin?
Well, I really enjoy cooking Korean food. And not only that, I wanted to find an efficient way of maximizing my time because I don't want to be standing above the stove or, for an hour or two, or even like for making stocks, it could take up to a whole day. And so I was like, there has to be a more efficient way. And I discovered the Instapot, and it really caters to my lifestyle.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your lifestyle? Because I think a lot of our listeners, everyone is busy. And so it's hard to cook. I even find myself, I can't, make food every day. So what is kind of give us a snapshot of like, what is your day like and how you kind of maximize your time? Because I think that's a challenge for a lot of folks
It
around.
really is. I tend to have a very packed life. I have one son, a husband, but not only that, I'm a part-time middle school teacher. I'm heavily involved in my son's like sport activities, so I'm his team parent. even during his school year, I was his room mom. So I wear a lot of hats. And so I always try to make it so that I have enough time to execute what I plan. Like, so it's always like you create a vision and you make sure you follow that, or you create a lesson plan, or you create a menu, or I'm very structured in that way. So having those laid out, it kind of helps you, like when you have your calendars of your events, of who you're going to be interviewing, you're very organized in that and systematic, right? Same with your life, whether it's like preparing your child's lunch or picking up that child from school or having to make a meal for that child or your husband in the evening. I mean, you just have to lay it out. Yeah.
Oh, you're so kind and gracious. I don't know if I'm as organized as you. It may seem like it, but
no,
sometimes like I have my morning routine. I wake up and it's almost like my body's just going through like automatic motion because I know what needs to get done. But I love what you're saying about create a vision.
Yeah.
Create a lesson plan, create a menu, whatever it is that you're trying to create, like take the time to plan. And so can you tell us, Doris, what is your thinking behind planning? Like what questions do you ask yourself when you're about to approach a project or approach a meal? I mean, whatever it is that you're about to do that could be complex and have a lot of layers to it. Because I think that is what, when I talk to you and you're like, there's a certain way that you think. And I think that's what's so valuable behind the charcuterie boards, behind being, a team mom and room mom, behind, being able to wear these multiple hats. So what is your planning process? What questions do you ask? And then how do you go about executing it?
All right, so I'll give you an example. I'm planning my son's team party. We just finished our baseball season, right? And so I'm creating that event. And so if you think of everything in your life as some type of event, like you have, whether it's your wedding you're planning or, a party or my husband's 40th birthday or, whatever the case might be, I'm always thinking through all those steps so that I can ensure that I don't have any hiccups in the road, So if it's my team party that I'm planning, okay, do I have my party favors? Am I going to make sure I have enough food for the guests? Am I going to have a speech ready? Or am I going to have the kids, like every little route you can think of, you have to ensure that those, checks are being marked off as you are executing these ideas before it goes through into fruition, right? So even with like meal planning, if you're going to really set out, okay, you're going to go purchase your ingredients, plan out your 3 meals before, list the ingredients, and then I strategically, when I teach my lessons online, like I say, okay, you're going to go to the refrigerator section or the freezer or the produce section and the fruit section. Like I systematically do it, visualizing where you're going to come in first and navigate that supermarket. It's that same concept. And so if you have a plan, I really think everything comes down to having a plan to execute, then you're bound for success.
So good. Systems. No, it's systems, like creating systems, those life systems that are going to help you be more, more successful and minimize the time wasted.
Yes.
That's so great. When, as you're speaking, I'm like, yes, I'm like, I need more of that. And with me though, it's interesting. And I don't know how many listeners out there that identify with this. I could be a total planner and I could also be very spontaneous and like both at the same time. And I think that's what drives my spouse nuts. But I love this idea of like really creating that vision and then mapping it out. Like what I'm hearing, you map it out so you find the most efficient route around the grocery store or with your event that you're planning, so you're not you're not overwhelmed. And
I agree.
I think we can get overwhelmed a lot, especially if you're raising a family and you're throwing events all the time. That's so amazing. And I guess to go back a little bit in your life before you got married and had a child, were you always like this planner, or did you kind of develop this skill or this not skill but affinity towards efficiency early on in life, or are there any experiences you had?
Yeah, that doesn't come overnight. And I realize as I'm looking back on my like lifeline, like my stepping stones of how I got to where I'm at, right? I really think those experiences help dictate and shape and mold me to who I am now. Because when I was younger, I was always that person like saying, oh, how come that person was gifted with a certain gift? Where's my talents? And then like I would always like be like, oh, I wish I was an artist, or I wish I was able to do this and that, or like, whatever the case might be. But I realized within due time, like, yes, I had this epiphany when I hit like late 30s, that I actually have something going for me. God's plan for me was not to be given to me when I was in my younger years, but he waited for me to build me to where I'm at, where I'm able to be comfortable in my own skin and be able to share on the level I share at, And so in hindsight, I might have complained and been like, God, where's my talent? Like, I'm nothing, I have nothing going for me. But then it was really all those experiences, whether it was like setting the table, learning how to marinate meat for my cousin, or, whatever it could be, all of that, like whether it's wrapping gifts for Christmas gifts or baking goods to give for gifts. I mean, all these little weird little things, even like gardening, like I love gardening, but before it was just more like dibble dabble of like, I'll make a succulent little plant gift for somebody. But now I'm like full on blown garden, like I don't know. So everything has a purpose. And if you stay again in your own lane and you realize what you're passionate about and your interests are, sky's the limit,
So good. So good. And I love that imagery of like every experience, every moment in your life leads up to the present. It's building you and constantly building you to be your best person. This saying that you have, stay in your lane. Can you explain or elaborate further on that and how that has helped you be successful in your life and work and everything?
When I say stay in your lane, I want people to realize like you have a gift, you have something going for you. If you can discover and hone in on that, I don't want people to make you feel jaded or question or doubt yourself, because there are times you'll look at other people's, accounts, or, you'll compare yourself with people. But you know what? You're you, and no one can replicate you. They can try and mimic you, but your authenticity will show through your delivery. And so I think that's where my followers resonate with me, because they feel like I'm just their friend. I want to like share, like I'm not one of those like I want to one up you, like I really want I want you to enhance your life with your own family, to whether it's cooking or enjoying like these activities that I share, it's for the betterment of everyone, So that's my thing. It's like, if you can just focus on your interests, your passion, your desires, there's no one who can, you know, like hinder your abilities, as long as you stay strong and confident and focus on your desires, So. What?
Doris, and I'm like, you should start coaching me. Doris, so I mean, I see you, on Instagram and all these different platforms. You always have a smile on your face, and we all know that life is not always, happy and positive, but challenges and just road bumps can come along. And so, one thing I like to ask my guests is, what do you do to stay positive when things get rough or things get hard? What is your kind of, it could be a wellness routine, or just what's your go-to so that you can lift yourself up when you're having a hard time?
I really like this question, Dom, because I think in order for you to be the best, you have to have some type of self-care for yourself. Like, how they say, in an emergency and on an airplane, do not put the oxygen mask on your child first. You put it on you first, because you have to take care of you in order for you to take care of someone else. You know what I mean? So same concept with like, I'm all about self-preservation in the sense of like, mentally and physically, I have to be good in a good space in order for me to continue that positivity. Because, hey, I'm like, I have my down days, I have my struggles, I have whatever I battle, but to keep me positive, having that positive outlet, whether it's like going to get a manicure or going to karaoke bars to go let it, all out. Like, I don't know, like, everyone has their thing. And so for me, like, sometimes it's just like an hour or two out of the house, maybe get a pedicure, just take care of me. Or, you know, I truly believe if I am not well rested, I am not the kindest nor caring mother at that point, So, and my family has learned that about me, like, oh, mommy needs her time. And so when I'm like, I need my 8 hours of sleep, or I need my little naps, or I'll need some time away so that I can rejuvenate and like get back to the normal Doris that I'm, the happy, upbeat, and like, that personality needs to be. It only comes after taking care of yourself first.
Yeah, no, so. That's great. And I love that you emphasize, you need your 8 hours of sleep. No, really, because I think in my younger years, I'm like, sleep, yeah, I don't need sleep. I can go off on 5 or 6 hours, but then, with family and just aging bodies, we just need sleep, and everyone needs sleep. That's like the secret superpower to your energy.
I agree.
And in terms of your definition of success at this point in your life, how do you define it? How do you define success?
After I hit 40, I realized, at the end of the day,
oh no, you paused. Hold on.
Success really comes down to, I think for me now, it comes down to family. And for me, monetary success, I think it'll come, it'll go, but ultimately at the end, when I'm dying, who's going to take care of me? My husband and my son, right? And I value family even so much more because, I don't have parents. They passed on early on. And the only living family I have are like my aunt and my uncle and a cousin. And so for me to spend time, that's more than any money in the world. That to me, success would be ensuring that my family knows that I love them and, they love me. But at the same time, I still want to be successful in the means of making my passion come to life too within due time, But my priorities I realized it has a lot to do with good health and ensuring that we're just living a happy lifestyle. Like, I don't want to just leave this earth without having experienced the true love of like, family and like experiences. And so, yes, success to me is a healthy family. And if God blesses me with my continued success, like, I would be gracious, but I'm already successful. I'm not talking monetary wise. I make a decent living, but I get to enjoy sharing what I am passionate about. That's success to me too,
Yeah. Oh, so good. I hope folks that are listening or tuning in are taking some notes because, Doris, what you're saying, success comes down to family, those relationships and feeling love and being able to express and experience, what it's like to actually pursue your passions. And I think, you embody all of that. And it's so great to watch. Like, I'm just watching you like on the sidelines, like, your Instagram account or, on Facebook and what you're up to. I'm always impressed and know that you're doing it because you just love doing it. Mm-hmm. Doing it because you love doing it. And that's always what it's been for you. And that's what I appreciate so much about what you do and why you do it. And that, your family gets to watch you be that positive impact in the world. So, Doris, you keep doing you, Doris.
I'll try.
So good. So, Doris, how do folks get in touch with you? What's the best way? Where do you hang out online?
So I'm on Instagram quite a bit. I share a lot of my life, and so it could be randomized, like from like a good sale I got from going to the Korean supermarket, sharing the deals of the day, or a meal that I had made, or my son's baseball tournaments and whatnot. So it's just randomized. But yeah, I'm at Doris Delights Cho on Instagram, and then on Facebook they can find us at our Korean Instapot group, which has about 70K people. I I'm going to try and do YouTube a little bit more so this year. And I do teach cooking courses. And so these are all online on Kajabi. And so if I share my next project, it will be through my Instagram or YouTube channel. So
Okay, great, great. And I'll definitely have some show notes for folks that are listening or tuning in so that they can get in touch with you. And if you don't mind, if you are tuning in right now, send Doris an Instagram DM at Doris Delights Cho and just let her know what you learned from this episode. I think she'll really appreciate it and know that, you know, we're reaching someone out there in the world. All right, Doris, thank you so much for being on the show.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Dom.